Hey everyone, Mike here from Clear Brands Grow. In today's video, I am speaking to the awesome Brad Ewin, who is a B2B content writer, editor, and strategist. So we're going to talk initially about Brad and who he is and where he's from, and then we're going to dig into some content marketing tips. So Brad, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, things are all right. I mean, it's 2020. It's been a wild year. Coronavirus, right? It's all got us locked down. I'm stuck in my little perfectly dark green room that I stay safe from the virus in. Lucky I got my details up on the wall. Makes it really easy for things like this.
Yeah, perfect.
No, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Yeah, good man. Yeah, good. Like you say, 2020, it's a bit of a write-off. I came into this year like most people saying, best decade ever, that kind of shit. But it's turned into the worst year ever. So awesome. But take the positives. I'm doing a 100-day video challenge. I've got Brad Ewan on my show. So
You say that like it means something special. I appreciate that. That means
well,
a
it
lot.
means so much to me, man. It
I'm
means
glad.
nothing
No,
to
no.
anyone else, but to me, it's great. So
Hey,
you're the star of the show today. So yeah, Brad, tell us about more about you, your background. You've got quite an interesting background, and just shoot.
yeah, I mean, I think we have the same background, right? We both studied engineering, yeah?
Yep, both
And
engineering,
then
and
we
then
both
sort of
decided
into
not to be engineers.
yep for the right
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, yeah, definitely for the right reasons. Yeah, I don't know. I've been in content marketing for a few years now. It sort of just came out of a passion for writing when I was younger, and then when it came to realizing that everything I bet on in terms of engineering was not what I wanted to do, that just seemed like an area I could explore. And then content marketing was kind of like, I guess, like the commercial way of doing that, right? Much easier getting paid doing that than it is to become like a fiction author or something like that. But yeah, no. So I currently work for GoCardless. I'm kind of like the small business content specialist there. And for anyone who doesn't know us, I mean, I'll do that. I've got to do the really quick company plug. This is not a
Go
company
for
thing. I'm going
it.
to do
Go
this
for it,
company
man.
plug
Go
just for
for it.
fun. But no, we help small businesses all around the globe get paid on time automatically via direct debit. So it's all about just, if you're currently getting paid via bank transfer or something, classic way in the small business world, using direct debit is just a way that you can get paid automatically on time. You can, save all that time and money and stress and whatever in chasing out late payments. That's what it's all about. I'm not going to go too heavy on that, but if you are interested, go to gocardless.com, check it out. It's a good solution. That's why I work there. Wouldn't work there if I didn't believe in the solution. But yeah, so we're going to talk about content marketing.
Correct. Yes. So you being the content marketing pro, take us wherever you want to go. Bearing in mind that my audience network are typically small business owners, not your big corporates, just sort of standard people trying to make a living, trying to make it go a pandemic, and keep food on their table and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. No, and I love that. I mean, that's why I started to, I guess, to carve out the sort of small business content niche within what I do. I mean, there is like at Cocardless, for instance, like we obviously do serve some very large companies all around the world, but like small businesses is where my heart's at, and what I find more interesting. So yeah, what I wanted to talk about today was I don't know, go against the grain a little bit in that, like, I don't think small businesses should do content marketing, and like there's
Ooh.
some more there's there's some more stuff that I'll add to that. But it's something that I've been thinking about. I haven't been thinking about it too deep, so I must admit right now I haven't been thinking about this like in a lot of depth lately. It's a very recent thought of mine, so you'll
Yeah.
have to forgive me for not being particularly articulate on it at the moment, and I might say something dumb that I'd later want to change. But I think my initial thoughts on this are probably that, like, you shouldn't do content marketing in the way that most intro content marketing is taught. So that means, like, if you're jumping on Google and researching content marketing, or doing like an intro content marketing course by HubSpot or something like that. And I think the core of this all comes down to the fact that, like, content marketers love writing about content marketing, perhaps more than any profession likes professing about their profession in the whole entire world. Like, honestly, like, I do it, right? Like, I was not even a content marketer for very long before it was like, I'm going to start a blog teaching people about content marketing. It's like, Brad, you've barely done content marketing yet. What are you going to teach them? And there's also a billion other blogs out there doing the same thing. And so that's why I didn't really do much on that blog for a very long time. So what I'm saying with that is that, small businesses out there, they're like, oh, like, okay, they're learning about the different areas of marketing, different channels they can use. Content marketing is obviously one that comes up a lot. often referred to something as that's like table stakes these days. Like you have to be doing it, you can't be ignoring it. You have to find, there's like a lot of pressure as well of finding like some new unique way of doing it and stuff like that. And yet all the guidance out there is very samey. Some of it will be very good, but oddly, that's very hard to find, which kind of goes counter to what you expect from Google, right? The whole idea is that Google's this amazing product that surfaces like the best thing at the top. And yet if you search a lot of content marketing stuff up, like it's good in learning about content marketing in kind of like a high school presentation way, in that like if you want to get the basics of something and present about it, Google content marketing, whatever pops up is probably going to help you. But in terms of finding what will, like the real actionable nitty gritty stuff that will work for your business, your niche, like that stuff's going to be so impossible to find, particularly for so many industries, like so many small businesses and so many industries. The stuff you're going to see is just not going to be relevant to you. So like I just say broad strokes, don't get hooked in too deep too soon about the idea of content marketing. It's something that is so broad. There's so many different ways you can do it. And it's all very expensive. Like people will tell you content marketing is the only marketing that's free or something like that. And it's like massively disagree. Your time is so valuable, so incredibly valuable. No marketing is free, particularly not content marketing. Like, sure, yeah, you can just sit down there and bash stuff out without you having to like pay money to a person. But like you're wasting your time and, the sort of opportunity cost that comes along with that too. So content marketing is enormously expensive. Where do I go next with my ramble?
I was going to say, given the fact that you've just told people basically not to do content marketing, I've just summarized what you just said. If you want people to avoid just, doing a Google search about content marketing and trying to avoid the sort of pitfalls of following that sort of guidance, what can people do, or where should they start?
Yeah, so that's good. I think what you should do is it should always come from, sorry, the sun in my dark green room.
I was going to say, just got very bright on your side.
Yeah. So, oh God, where was I? Yes. So all content marketing, it should absolutely never come from some external pressure to do content marketing. It shouldn't be like, I'm not doing content marketing. I see all this stuff about content marketing. I need to be doing content marketing. Like, don't ever do that. 100% use content marketing to solve a business problem that you have, right? So like identify, what you want out of your business. Like, how do you want it to grow? What problems are you currently suffering from? What are the things that just, piss you off or irritate you with your business? And if content is something that can solve that, that's great, but it should always come in that order. Like it shouldn't be like, I want to do content marketing. How can I justify doing, this sun? How can I justify doing content marketing? Like, don't search for the problem. Instead, just start with the problems you have and see if content marketing is something that can solve that. So like one thing, and it's hard because every business is so different, but like, it could just be as simple as, yeah, my problem is that I need more customers, right? Yeah. And then you think I can use content marketing to solve that. And like, yeah, you can. Yeah. Something is outrageous.
Dude, your room is really bright.
Yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, like content marketing is definitely like something you can do, but keep in mind it's very, very slow. And like I said before, it's very, very expensive to do. Particularly like the classic way of like thinking of content marketing of like organic search results. So like I want to produce content so that I rank really highly in Google for things that my customers are searching for. They'll then find me and they'll use my services, right? If you want to do that, that is so hard. That is so hard to do. Unless you do something extraordinarily niche, you're likely to have a whole lot of competition, which means that you're going to need to invest a lot of time in producing a lot of the right kinds of content to beat that competition. Sometimes it's just being smarter about your keywords, sure, but like even that whole area of SEO is so hard. Like one thing I learned, previous company I worked at, actually, where Mike and I had a brief overlap in tenure.
Very brief.
Very brief. Like we didn't have a dedicated SEO person, right? SEO fell under like search engine optimization. That fell under what I did. And I had no kind of specialist training in that. I just had the sort of self-taught stuff that I'd done. I now at GoCardless work with like a very talented, like global SEO manager, and like the wealth of experience he brings to the table, it's absolutely transformative. Like having that as an internal resource is like, okay, this is very realistically something we can do now. Like there are some very high competition, like high value keywords that we can and are starting to rank for because of the tactics that he has and because of, like the budget and resource that GoCardless has to invest in that. Small businesses though, like completely different story. So I wouldn't bother going down that route because it actually takes a lot of time to really figure out the ins and outs of SEO. Otherwise, you can learn the basic stuff sort of pretty quickly, but then when it comes down to actually producing that content and making it happen, it's still going to be very slow and a very long time for you to get the return that you want.
Yeah. Because that's, to be honest, that's a great point to sort of make, really, because a lot of business owners and professionals are going to think, right, if I create content, chuck a few keywords in, it's naturally going to rank and going to get all this traffic, and they're going to think it's great. But like you say, like it's very rare that situation happens. And it's only when you have the resources of a slightly bigger company that you'll actually get anything there. So really, like you say, you're just wasting your time by sort of taking that approach, especially if you don't recognize that it's not working immediately. You just continue to spend months, hopefully not years, but you could go down for years not really knowing what you're doing, just thinking, I've got to keep doing it, everyone's doing it, and just hope one day it'll pay off, which is terrible.
Definitely. So what instead I would suggest, and this is sort of coming off the cuff without too much thought behind it, because again, the content's so broad, but like try and look, if you really think like content marketing could help you, or like you have the solution that you need to find more customers in your current channels, you're a little bit tapped out, or you're not really sure how you can innovate any further. And so if there's no other more viable marketing channels, and there's actually this great book called Traction, which sort of breaks down the sort of 19 marketing channels. I mean, I'm sure people would argue on that and become more granular or less granular, but basically there's 19 broad marketing channels you can use. Take a look at that. Actually, you know what? If you're posting this on LinkedIn, I can put like a link in the post below. So if you're watching this right now on LinkedIn, I've probably put a link in the comments below to talk more about those 19 marketing channels. But yeah, so get back on track. If you're looking at those, you're like, I'm a little bit tapped out, I do want to try content marketing. Do something way more focused. Don't try and dominate Google search results. And again, this is broad advice. This is not really appropriate for everyone, right? It's always going to be the case. But like what I would think, what I'm more interested in, what I'm more excited about is, do something like what you're doing, Mike, for instance, like get on LinkedIn and make LinkedIn work for you. If that's something where you can genuinely find your customers and connect with them, some people aren't going to be able to do that, right? Like if you're like I don't know, like a landscaper or something, I don't know, are you really going to find landscaping clients, like just like homeowners and stuff like that on LinkedIn and connect them? Maybe like for sure, maybe it could work, but like that feels a little bit more dubious, right? Because LinkedIn's more of like the sort of network for like office job type people usually. But yeah, so like look, get on LinkedIn, start building up your presence there. That sounds like really generic, vague advice. So I'd say like start posting helpful tips, right? Find other people that are talking about the same topic, right? Look up hashtags, or just use your own real life network, connect with them on LinkedIn, see what they're doing, stuff like that. Just find these conversations or start these conversations where you're posting about the things relevant to your industry. So you can start to show off your expertise. You can start to give out helpful sort of free advice. Like definitely don't get worried about, sharing too much, like helping people too much, or like giving them an alternative to your solution. Like not a competitor, of course, but like don't freak out about teaching someone how to do something where if they do that thing, they don't need your product, because it's like right now you're just helping them. They don't need your product yet, right now, which means that like if they don't need your product yet, like you haven't given them advice, they were never going to buy your product anyway, so it's no big loss. But you've really helped them out, and you're going to build that goodwill, and potentially when their needs grow, come back to you. Or if they come across someone who does need something that your product offers, they'll come back to you. But yeah, just get that out there, start sharing what is really helpful. LinkedIn's great because you can obviously have these like individual connections with people. It's not like a blog where you're sort of throwing it out into the abyss and it needs to be surfaced somewhere. Like LinkedIn, you can engage with people's stuff, you can have direct messages with them, stuff like that. Email newsletters, they're also like, they're back in a big way. One would argue that they never went away, but I think there was a period a number of years ago where sort of email newsletters felt cheesy, and now they're coming back a lot. It's particularly like personal email newsletters, so not like not an email newsletter where it's like, oh, like company X is doing a newsletter. For instance, like one thing that's come across my radar super recently is, Xero, like accounting software, like they might have an email newsletter. I don't know if there is. I'm not subscribed to it. Sorry, Xero. I'll try and find it. But Ben Johnson, their director of financial partnerships, I want to say is his title. He's someone I've sort of dealt with a little bit in my time at GoCardless and my previous role at Chaser. And he's recently-ish started his own personal newsletter within the realm of like finance and fintech. That's super interesting, right? And because it's decoupled from Xero, like it's not a Xero endeavor, it's just a personal endeavor of his, like it's like very much him coming through. He's got this freedom to do with it what he wants, and it just has a very different vibe to a company newsletter. And there's something that's more appealing about that, right? Like I'm more excited about reading that than just sort of a generic company newsletter that sort of brings together like random bits of content. So that's something you can try, right? Do like a very, very personal email newsletter, like professional, but like it's personal, like it's you. It's not your company. It's like, it's not a Clear Brands Grow newsletter. It's a Mike Hannon newsletter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing would be cool.
That's cool,
or using Twitter instead of LinkedIn, if that's more the audience, and you can try and do
yeah.
something there.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about connecting with people, right? Not about just like throwing out random tweets, like connect with other people, comment on their stuff, be helpful.
Yeah.
Even direct mail, that's another thing that, I would say falls under content marketing. Like the digital marketer in me is kind of like, oh, direct mail is, like not really very valuable anymore. But it's like, that's not real. That's not true at all. I got a Papa John's thing through the mail the other day.
Exactly.
I literally ordered Papa John's that night.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just like an ad though, right? Because it's a menu,
of course.
but like you could do something different. It doesn't have to just be an ad for your services. You could basically put together some sort of helpful guide and just give it out for free, and people will be like, whoa, what is this? I'm expecting an ad in my mail, and now I've got this helpful guide.
Yeah, exactly. Do something different. And especially if most people think, sort of direct mail is over, then sort of just sort of surprise them and go down that route. I think I suggested that to a client recently. I said, look, go down the leaflet route, because, a lot of your competitors probably aren't doing that anymore. So you'll stand out.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool, man. I love the other tips. It's kind of like, from what I'm hearing, it's kind of like, don't sort of put all your eggs in the Google or Bing basket and hope that you'll get found, because you probably won't. Go to somewhere where your audience is. So if that's LinkedIn, great. If it's Instagram or Facebook, great. And then if you already have like a list of customers or clients, then they already know who you are. So just send out your newsletter or grow your email marketing list, and sort of more targeted, rather than just sort of hoping you'll get found. Like, send the stuff directly to them and that kind of thing. Is that quite a good summary?
Definitely. And I'll just tack on that. One thing I really want to emphasize is be personal, be super personal. Like, I think right now people are kind of sick of the like the company thing, like just seeing like, company Twitter accounts and company accounts like pushing out this stuff. Like, there's something about that which just, I don't know, I feel like there's an apathy or a disengagement or something like that with it. Not to say that like, bigger companies shouldn't do that. Like, we do it at Catalyst, right? We have an account by, our great social media manager that handles that. And like, she's always like putting out top-notch content on there. But like, for a small business, like, let your personality shine through, because it's like, it's you that is going to be the competitive advantage. Like, the relationship thing is so important with small businesses. Like, big businesses are always going to be able to beat you on so many other fronts, but like small business, like, people just love doing business with great people, and that's going to be your advantage. So let that shine through your content, right? Don't worry about needing to be too professional or something like that. Just be the you you can be.
Cool, man. Love that. And that's in every aspect of life, not just business.
100%.
And that's why you'll see my face plastered all over my thumbnails, and just in general, because, trying to build that sort of personal connection, trying to get me out there. Yes, one day Clear Brands Grow might be a faceless bear moth that takes over the world, but right now it's just just me helping out small businesses and talking to awesome people like you, Brad.
Thank you. You're too kind. You're far too kind.
Perfect, man. I think that's quite a good place to stop then. Is there anything else you want to add, or where can people find you if they want to talk to you, or find out more about the Brad?
You don't really need to find out more about me. I'm not that exciting, but if you do want to talk content marketing, copywriting, I'm more than happy to offer pro bono advice. Like, I'm not going to charge you a fee to just have a chat, and like, I can, give you some pointers, whether it's reviewing something that you've written and just, helping, give it an edit, or giving you some guidance on how you could write it better in future. Or whether you just want to broadly talk about hey, like, I haven't even really thought about content marketing, and I think it might be able to help me solve my problems. Like, where do I even begin? Like, any of that sort of stuff, more than happy to help out for free. If you jump, I'm going to put my hand down dangerously now, let that sun in my eyes. If you jump over to bradthewebsite.com, it's just my sort of like bare bones portfolio of mine, but there is a link to my LinkedIn profile there. So you can find me there, or you can just search my name, Brad Ewin, on LinkedIn and connect with me there. And just kick off a DM and we can chat it out. Happy to help.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thanks, Brad. So that's it for today's video. I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to Mr. Brad Ewin. And like he says, like, get in contact with him. He's offering his stuff for free. Take advantage. you won't be sorry. So until next time, get clear and take action.